kind of a huge thing. We're talking about how, for F3 is the future of freight. So looking at your product and stuff and delivery management, kind of what's some of the evolution? Like where have we come from almost?
Yeah, thanks for having me, by the way. Great to be here. If you look at the whole delivery space, right, especially in the last few years, right, what I like to say that every company under the sun suddenly has become a quote-unquote delivery company, right? You are delivering something to your customers, and delivery has become a key component of your overall business because it touches the customer experience, right? But ironically, if you look at it, 99% of the shippers have outsourced that customer experience to somebody else, right? Now suddenly you're staring at a requirement, how you can better the customer experience, right? In lieu of having your own resources, having your own trucks and employees, the next best thing about elevating that customer experience is technology, right? That's where we come in, that's where we play a role in helping our customers get closer to their end customers without investing in real assets.
Well, that's the hardest part is you see a lot of folks, ERPs as well as various technology platforms, and it feels like the space is very fragmented. You almost have TMSs for one thing, I've got my SAP stuff for another, I've got my visibility platform. And so, in terms of creating the specialized technology, where do you start? What would you recommend? Especially with your product you're offering, it feels like there's so much. If I started my own company right now, I don't even know where to go.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, right? The fragmented nature of this space is real opportunity for technology players like ourselves, right? So everybody is now living in a network economy, and it's especially true in the transportation and delivery space, right? Someone earlier was talking about 90% of the existing carrier base is 5 to 10 drivers kind of economy, right? So only technology can bring all of those people together, right, without having to, the unfortunate thing in technology is everybody looked at technology as my technology versus your technology, but we talk about a network technology because everybody is looking at the same piece of information, needs to be looking at the same piece of information without, connecting to each other via EDI or whatever point-to-point integrations.
I started trucking in 2014, and we literally went from different sensors to various technology platforms. And so, seeing how it's evolved, I know trucking is very slow to change. For the shippers themselves and the 3PLs, is this something where it feels overwhelming? Like how would, especially like New Viz, what would you all recommend? How do you fit into the scheme to help these folks decipher all this change?
Yep, that's where we come into play, right? When you talk about shippers' perspective, like I said, they want to get closer to their end customers, working well with their carriers network. Network is the key here, right? That is what has been lacking in the technology space so far. So now what we have done is, if a carrier and shipper is working on our network, their data is visible to everybody at the same time without moving that from point to point. That's a huge leap in terms of where we were 5-10 years ago, right? That's why the shipper standpoint. And then if you look at from a broker, 3PL carrier standpoint, they're also living in a commingled environment every day. Nobody is working with one shipper for their business. They're working with multiple shippers, catering to different kinds of businesses, right? Whether it's pharma, food distribution, appliances, what have you, right? It's not very uncommon carrier doing all of those different businesses to keep their assets busy. So in that environment, this notion of real-time network visibility becomes very important so that I, as a carrier, not picking up the phone and talking to shipper every time to give them visibility of what's going on, it happens automatically. Right? That's why most of the carriers kept arms away from the shippers. Hey, this is my data. I'll tell you at the end of the day what happened with your deliveries, whether it's on time or what have you kind of environment. But today, when you're living in a commingled environment, the technology can solve that problem. The technology understands you as a carrier are catering to 10 different shippers, and which shipper owns that part of the data. Only that shipper gets their part of the shipment, and the other shipper gets to see their part. and everybody understands exactly what's going on and where they are in line, what is the ETA for their end customer, irrespective of what else is on that truck, right? That is what I'm talking about, the network. The network is the fundamental platform idea, right, on top of which we build all the orchestration, right? You want to optimize your trucks and, give the drivers the ability to scan and send the customers the ETA and the whole 9 yards. Those are all table stakes right now. But
Yeah.
the network, the understanding of that, the digital twin of the physical supply chain that exists is what is important, and that's what we do really well.
Were there any specific challenges kind of changed in the way people view of how we do this business?
Absolutely. In the last few years especially, people have come to realization that it is not my data versus everyone else's data, right? It's, we are living in the shared economy. When I'm sharing assets, I'm getting the benefit of that. Otherwise, I would have gone and had my own truck if it made sense. I'm working with you because it doesn't make sense, and you can provide a better service, commingling, multiple shippers in one truck. So now people have started to get away. That's where the whole leap is, right? People, when you talk to billion-dollar companies, if you say SaaS, they all used to be afraid of, oh, SaaS, our data, we don't want to keep our data outside. What do you mean? You already have your data outside, right? It doesn't really matter. So by having the data there, you're helping not just yourself, you're helping everybody else, right? That's where we see the whole, space going. And, there's this whole initiative about open visibility network that we are talking about, some of the companies that have started this idea.
Yeah.
That gives visibility to the data to all the subscribers. Just because the data is out there, now the technology is intelligent enough to understand who owns the data, who needs to have the visibility, right? Just because it's there, it's not there for all. It's there for only the people who needs to have access, right? Once you control that, now people have come to realization that technology can do that. In fact, it can do that better than people can do it.
Like the customers, if they're willing to share more, now their demand planning team will know when your truckload shipment it is, and if it's coming from an inbound warehouse or going to the DC or a DC outbound. Like, is that kind of the future where you're able to see your data, but at the same time you can share this stuff back internally and be able to actually know what's going on with your own company instead of yelling at the transportation manager?
Some of the other initiatives going on in this space, which I really get excited about, is not only shared data, shared services. There's one of the retailers is trying to create a shared logistics services that other retailers can be part of. How many times have you seen an Amazon, a FedEx, a UPS, an XPO, and another truck showing up on your doorstep on the same day within the span of 2-3 hours? And I bet you none of them are 100% full. Forget about 100%, not even 50% full.
Oh, yeah.
Is there an opportunity for us to, create a network where I can, bring all of them together, reduce everything, carbon emission, we're talking about sustainability and all that. That's the next thing, the way we think about technology, not in terms of I can move data back and forth. We are thinking about much broader idea here in terms of sustainability, in terms of helping organizations, get closer to customer, right? That's where we are headed. And I mean, again, like I said, we are so excited to be in the middle of this in the last few years especially, and I don't see this slowing down anytime soon.